welcome to Astrobabble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are going to be talking about the full moon in Pisces. This is going to be the 27th mansion, according to Christopher Warnock's book on the mansions of the moon. And this has the nature of Mars and Mercury. Those planets, it's actually called the lower spout of the water bucket. And it is in reference to ruin of resources, possible damage. It can cause obstruction. It can cause endangerment and hindrances, malice. On the positive side, it can unite allies. It can increase harvests, heal illness as well. It can impede buildings that are being built. And there is also peril at sea. So those are some of the things to watch out for. Also, it is good for incarceration, prolonging the incarceration of captives. So if you have a parole meeting during this time, chances are it's not going to work out real favorable.
I thought you were going to say if you've got a captive.
Hopefully nobody has a captive. Don't want to see any of that. But yeah, if you are a captive in like the criminal system, I would not be scheduling a parole meeting during that time.
Yeah, it's a pretty hardcore moon mansion.
It is. It's got a lot of things that you can do to thwart your progression forward. It can really be taking down things. It seems like it's taking down things, either hindrance or it seems malicious.
Yeah, Mars is definitely showing there, isn't it, rather than the Mercury?
Yeah, and then I think the Mercury retrograde during this part is really helping that maliciousness.
Yeah, though it's interesting that we've had, when Mercury first entered Virgo, Mars was already there, and usually Mercury would have caught up with it. But because it's been getting ready to station retrograde, it's been moving very slow, and now by the time of the full moon, Mars is direct to move forward, and Mercury's turned around. So I wonder if that will actually be helpful. I know planets aren't in strong condition when they're retrograde, but at least concerning this moon mansion, it might be actually good that Mercury's turned around and they're moving in separate directions.
That might be. It could be a good saving grace if that's how it will manifest, for sure.
And Mercury is pretty strong because it's in its sign of its domicile and exaltation, so that might be somewhat helpful too.
Yeah.
But yes, what else have we got going on here?
For the new moon or the full moon?
The full moon. Venus is in aversion. Jupiter is sextile the full moon. And then we've got Saturn with the full moon, which is a shame. And Mars,
yeah, those are
inversion. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. You would think that it's a slow month. There's not a lot of aspects with this, but still, there's a lot more energy that seems to be under the surface that isn't jumping off the page than, just looking at a simple chart. Because all the planets, some of them are retrograde, some of them are going to be moving retrograde, some of them are going to be moving direct, and
yeah,
they've got their own drumbeat, it seems.
Yeah, a lot of changing directions for some of these planets. So,
well, as it is for this new moon, we've got Saturn is retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, Chiron is retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, Venus is retrograde, and the nodes are retrograde, and Pluto's retrograde. So that's a lot to be retrograde.
And I don't know if you mentioned Mercury's retrograde. It's newly retrograde.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we have Jupiter that will retrograde very soon in this.
It's just a week later. So
well, I think it's about a week. And then,
4 days actually.
mm,
5.
but Venus is going to change. She's going to go direct. So that's something.
And then she'll be recovering all that old ground that you have been, whatever
Mhm.
you've been contemplating changing up for these last couple of weeks. She's going to be going over that same ground that you were contemplating and maybe making some changes.
Yeah. Will be very interesting. Yeah. Just looking at the essential dignities, Mercury is the strongest planet there. Hmm. Well, shall we have a look at the horoscopes?
Sounds like a great idea.
And this is a full moon, so it tends to be about high points, culminations, and sometimes endings. And we recommend that you listen to your ascendant sign horoscope rather than your sun or moon. And we've done a video all about that if you're not sure why that's the case.
And so if you are a Pisces, this full moon is going to be happening in your first house. And this is where things will be coming together that you've been working on, maybe for 6 months, maybe when the new moon was happening for you. This is going to be things that are going to be, coming to fruition. If you were working on something for yourself, as far as maybe getting an appointment that was hard out to get an appointment, this would be a time to, yeah, more that you were doing something more for yourself. If you wanted to get a new wardrobe, this would be, maybe you finally found that last piece that you were looking for, or if you were, whatever you are trying to do for yourself, this is going to be culminating and coming to fruition around this time. This is a time where things are going to coming to you that you have been working on just personally, not with your spouse or your significant other, or with your community or groups or friends. This is what you're working on just for yourself. So
Hmm.
this is a great time.
And if you are an Aquarius ascendant, this full moon is happening in your second house. The second house is about our income, finances, and resources. So there might be high points. So maybe there's a bonus comes your way or some sort of personal financial high point. Could be associated with resources. So maybe you get your hands on something that's going to be helpful to you in some way. Yeah, or it could be endings. So it could be, the end of some sort of stream of income. But full moons do tend to be, hopefully more about high points or combinations like a harvest. It could be that, there's a big lump sum at this time, or, a medium-sized lump sum, or even a small lump sum, but some sort of, high point or culmination. It might be a final payout, though.
And if you are a Capricorn, this full moon is going to be happening in your third house. The third house, if you have elementary age children, this will be, maybe it's coming together where they're actually going back to school. This will be things that are happening in your community or early education. It could as well be, if you were looking to buy a car, this would be a time. If you were a Capricorn rising, this is when it's going to come to fruition. It's whatever you started working on a while back. This is when it's coming, and that's it also has something to do with journalism, not really publishing, but writing, how you communicate. This is all that house that, the third house is, if you're a Capricorn rising, this is where the full moon is going to be at. And that is the house of early education, how you communicate, your community. So things will be coming to you, as far as those topics are concerned.
And if you are a Sagittarius ascendant, this full moon is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house is our family, including our parents in particular. It's also our home and living situation and real estate matters. So it could be that this isn't really associated with you. It could be something that's happening to your parents, some high point or ending or culmination, or it could be to do with your home living situation. And that could be something as simple as somebody's leaving, or, you've been working on some project at the home that kind of comes to some high point at this time. or, you know, a real estate matter.
And if you are a Scorpio rising, this full moon is going to be happening in your fifth house. The fifth house is the house will be concerning your children or things that you create. Could also be hobbies as well as entertainment, things that you do for fun. So this will be a really nice house for those things are coming to you. So with the full moon, it's indicative of what you've been working on. This will be coming out to fruition. So if you were working on getting concert tickets maybe 6 months ago, you'll be going to the concert right about now, because this is the house where all that happens.
Yes, very nice house, the fifth. And if you are a Libra ascendant, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is associated with illness, but also service to others, those that work for us, can include people that you work with, or pets. So this could be a high point or a culmination to do with one of those matters. It could be, you know, maybe you've been wanting to get a pet and now's the time that you get that pet. It could be somebody, particularly those that serve others in some form, which can include doctors, nurses, firefighters, police people. You know, this could be graduating from an academy or graduating from a course. Yeah, or it could be, you know, you've got an employee that's leaving at this time or a co-worker that's leaving at this time. Regarding illness, hopefully for some it might be the end of a course of treatment or the end of an illness running its course. There is Saturn very close to this full moon. It may have taken a very long time, perhaps much longer than it usually would. That Saturn is retrograde too. Yeah, particularly with Neptune in the sixth, it may have taken a long time to, you know, come about or be discovered what it was. Same for if you were, you know, people that serve others. You know, it may have been a long and winding road to getting to this point. So it's Pisces is in a very interesting position at the moment. You know, we've got the full moon there, but we've also got Saturn, which is, you know, all about your boundaries and that, and discipline and hard work. And then you've got Neptune, which is all airy fairy, kind of blurring the boundaries. So it's an interesting combination.
I definitely like this. I know somebody with a Libra rising who has been going for test after test after test after test, and I'm thinking this may be the time when that test is going to actually show what we need to see.
Very
That
interesting.
is
Yeah.
that is very good news for the Libra risings.
Very good.
Because the man should also, it's good to heal illnesses. So that's just perfect. Good pickup on that.
Certainly wish them well. Nothing worse than being ill and not knowing exactly why.
So, well, good news for the Libras. But if you are a Virgo, if you are a Virgo, this is going to be happening in your seventh house. This full moon is going to be happening in your seventh house. Your seventh house is the house of the other person. So if you were working on something with a significant other, whatever that is, might be coming to fruition. This also could be also telling of an appointment that you've been trying to get with one other person. So or the appointment might be you might be actually going to the appointment that you tried making about 6 months ago. This is a perfect time for those types of things, that you have things that are coming to fruition with that one other person.
Yeah. And if you are a Leo ascendant, this full moon is happening in your eighth house. The eighth house is the house of other people's money. It's also to do with mortality. So it can include things like wills, death, just to be a bit cheery. Not usually death, though. Remember, you know, you will have a full moon in your eighth house at least once a year, usually.
Once a month.
Well, not a full moon, but you'll have the moon.
Yeah.
You'll have a full moon in the eighth house at least once a year, though. And that's what we forgot to mention too. This is a blue moon too. This is the second full moon of the month. So Mm. But look, it's also shared finances and resources. So this is debts, loans, joint finances, financial agreements in general, tax, insurance, superannuation, 401ks. Yeah, it's a lot of things like that. So there might be a high point or an ending to do with one of those matters. Maybe you've been trying to sort out a deal, and this could be you are actually going into business with someone, so you're pooling resources and you've sorted out the paperwork, you've got the go ahead, or you've been waiting for this loan to come in. That would be a high point. But it's also like, for couples that are divorcing or separating, you might be sorting out financial agreement, how you're going to split those resources, and it's finally agreed. That's a high point and an ending sort of thing. So all those things are applicable.
Good.
And that's the other thing too. This eighth house, it can also be in anxiety and worry. Oh, that's what I find it can be very much too. So if you're feeling this month, that there's been a lot of anxiety, hopefully maybe when it kind of moves out of there a little bit, it will lessen a bit. You do have Neptune there though, so it's kind of like, it might be like a kind of a, what do they call it? Free ranging, GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. It might feel like that. It's like I'm anxious, but I don't know why, which is a horrible feeling.
If your significant other's money is coming in,
Mm.
this could be showing of that. And I do have a Leo that is happening too, where her
Oh,
significant other
nice.
is getting a new job. So
Yeah,
perfect.
very interesting.
And if you are a Cancer rising, the full moon's going to be happening in your ninth house. And the ninth house is the house of publishing, law, as well as some esoteric subjects and maybe foreign travel, as well as religion and how you see the world, from a bigger perspective, not the lower, not the details, not like Virgo. We'll look at the details. This is more of a general, bigger picture. But yeah, if you are a Cancer rising, you are looking for philosophical changes that might be coming to you that you've been contemplating, and you started about 6 months ago. This might be when it's coming to fruition. If you had a book and you were wanting to get that published, this might be the time where it is actually going to go to the publisher. This is a good time to get those subjects taken care of. Any legal matters?
Yeah, legal matters. That's a big one too. And if you are a Gemini ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 10th house. So the 10th is very, very visible. So you may have the spotlight on you in some form or fashion. This is the house of our career and public reputation. So it could be something big happening at work. It could be you've had a project that's finally coming to an end. You may be recognized, whether that's at work or for something else that you do just generally, because this is the house of recognition, reward, honors. It's also the house of infamy. We've got fame, but we've also got infamy. So if you're misbehaving, just be aware that spotlight's on you at the moment. So maybe just try and behave yourself for the next 2 weeks. I love telling people that when they get the full moon in the 12th, in the 10th. But look, generally, it's nice. It's an angular house. It's very visible. Yeah, hopefully very nice things. We do have Saturn there, so maybe these rewards or recognition or finishing whatever it is that's being taken care of has taken a lot longer than you expected initially, but it looks like the end is in sight, so hopefully it all goes well.
And if you are a Taurus rising, this full moon is going to be happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of your hopes and dreams, as well as groups and organizations, and the friends that support you. So with all of those things, this will be something coming to fruition around those topics.
Very
Like
nice.
if you had joined a club and they're having their big gala or meeting and things that you've been working on. So it'll finally come to fruition, which is nice.
Very nice. And if you are an Aries ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house can be a challenging house. It's associated with our undoing. So this can be related to addictions, bad habits, escapism. It's also a place of exile, which can mean being far away, away from all that's familiar. It can be literally in another country, but it can also be going away, locking yourself away from your usual routine, working behind the scenes, going on retreat. But it's also places of confinement too, like prisons and hospitals. So there's a lot there that it could encompass. For a lot of people, though, this is just a time of rest. But, you know, if that rest is kind of enforced on you, not so wonderful. Some people don't know how to fully relax. It's a very underrated skill, being able to relax. But full moon, so this could be a high point, culmination, or completion. Maybe you've been working behind the scenes. Well, actually, this would probably be a bad place to be working behind the scenes because you got the full moon there. So you might be exposed in some way. But maybe if you've been hospitalized or if you've been incarcerated in some way, and this could be not even necessarily perhaps literal jail sentence. This could be you feel like you've been imprisoned in some way. Maybe there's ending to do with that. It could be maybe you are getting away, whether that's overseas or just, taking yourself out of the scene for a while, going on a retreat of some sort. Or it could have something to do with bad habits. There may be a high point. Well, yeah. That just sounds weird. But I'm kind of thinking that's more Jupiter in the 12th. But yeah, it's a high point, or it could be an ending. Maybe you're coming to a point where you're like, enough's enough. I'm gonna knock this on the head now. You do have Saturn in there, but it's Saturn in Pisces, so you've also got Neptune in there. So, and Neptune's very woozy and quite often associated with wouldn't say addiction, but certainly drugs. But yeah, high point, culmination, or ending to do with what could be a self-defeating habit, addiction, but also, maybe you've just been not as visible, and maybe that's a time where it's okay, enough of this, and you're going to start preparing yourself to be more visible.
I like that. I mean, if you have even an addiction problem, I mean, this is that 12th house is the house of, going away and getting that help that you might need. So this is and the moon mansion is supporting healing. So
That's
it's a
point.
great idea if you do have an issue with drugs or alcohol or any other kind of addiction. This is a good time to, I think, take care of it.
Yeah,
Get it
well,
to its culmination.
that's really interesting. Like you were saying, like it's good for captives, like to keep them captive. So, like if you've had problems kind of being able to stay the course of some sort of, say, rehab program or something, yeah, maybe that would actually be a good use for it with the 12th house. Interesting.
Even though it's hard energy and it can be challenging energy, it's still useful energy. The energies are still there for those that need them. So I am totally all about, get the help and lock yourself away. If that's what you need to do it, because nobody else is going to do it for you. When it comes to self-healing is exactly that. You've got to do it yourself. You're the only person who's got that control.
And for Aries ascendants in particular, you've got Mercury retrograde in the 6th house of
In the 6th house. So you're readdressing those things.
And even though that Mercury is retrograde, it's very strong. It's exalted and in domicile. For Aries ascendants in particular, you've got Mercury retrograde in the 6th house of
In the 6th house. So you're readdressing those things.
And even though that Mercury is retrograde, it's very strong. It's exalted and in domicile. So it's in a good position.
Yeah.
So it's in a good position.
Yeah.
Well, Donna, do you have a crystal for us? Well, Donna, do you have a crystal for us?
I do. And I was just thinking about that when you were a couple of houses back. I do. And I was just thinking about that when you were a couple of houses back. The crystal that I have, it's called Blue Kyanite. And I picked this stone and it can be really blue. The crystal that I have, it's called Blue Kyanite. And I picked this stone and it can be really blue. And I have a couple of them. And I have each one of these because I use it all the time. This is a great stone. It's pretty hard. It's like a 6 or a 7, but this has the most hardness of 6 or 7. But it creates rapid transfers of energy. This is also great for lucid dreaming. According to the Book of Stones, which is my source. It also is good for, it helps, according to that book, it helps you link the physical, astral, and casual bodies. So it kind of brings all of that together so that you can get all that information, all that downloaded information. It is also good if you use it with other kind of kyanites. It's really good for self-healing, but this does help you with lucid dreaming. So I think I'm going to be tucking these ones away for a little while. But I will tuck these away, but I will write an article about it. I'm having a little bit of issue with dreaming here. So yeah, and this does exactly what it says it's supposed to do. So, but I use it for Mercury. I use it for nerves. It's not listed at that, but this is my stone that I go to when somebody has a nerve issue. It's pretty hard, but it's got like a pearlized, I don't know if you can see it, like on this flat surface. It almost looks like a mother of pearl kind of a coating. It's a really pretty stone, nice and blue. It works on the throat chakra and the third eye. So it's called Blue Kyanite, and that's the stone.
Very nice.
Which, if you don't want lucid dreaming, I would highly recommend you not touch it.
Yes, me and Donna were talking about lucid dreaming before we started recording. I was saying that it always wears me out. It's like I wake up more exhausted than. But I'm just thinking, I wonder if lucid dreaming and how you react to it is more dependent on your Mercury position. Like my Mercury is in Pisces, so it's ruled by Jupiter, so it just goes too far. Where's your Mercury? In Scorpio?
My Mercury is in Scorpio, so I go in for that deep stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just wake up exhausted. It's just like, now I've got to go to work.
Right.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it really pays to know the stones before you even pick them up, because they can really, if you're not expecting them to create issues in your life if you're not ready for them.
Yeah. And you said something about the physical, the mental, and did you say casual?
The physical, the astral, and the casual bodies, because you have your physical body, and then you have your energetic body, and then you have that body that's way higher than that, than just your physicalness.
So that's the really high one, is the astral. So which one is the casual?
Would be the electric. Well, yeah.
I was just curious. So I figure if I'm curious, maybe other people are curious. I'm like, what is she on about?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. And you'll write an article for us?
I will.
Okay. So we have the aspects for the next 2 weeks, and we don't have many.
No, it does seem like there's not a whole lot going on, but after we talk about what the aspects are, you can make your own decisions because there seems to be, well, a lot of the planets are retrograde. So as I mentioned earlier.
So first off, Venus stationing direct. So this will be a great relief for a lot of people. We're still within the shadow period though.
Her shadow period ends October 7th.
She's got to get all the way back up to 28 Leo because she's at 12 Leo when she stations direct. But a lot of things should start to kind of settle down to do with wherever Leo is in your chart, but also the houses that have Taurus and Libra in them. They might settle down a little bit too.
That is very nice. Yeah. When Venus is going direct, it still has to go through that shadow period that it was going through when it was retrograde. So any of those issues that you've been experiencing, since July 22nd, or yeah, July 22nd, when it went into retrograde, you're going to be readdressing those types of issues that you've been going over since July.
Yeah, I just realized I've got the shadow dates here. I was looking straight at them, but not seeing them. It's very early morning here.
The shadowy.
And this Mercury retrograde is really messing with me. Yeah, so the shadow period for this Venus retro is from the 19th of June until the 7th of October. So that's a significant amount of time. But yeah, once we're out of the actual retro phase, hopefully things will start to kind of get a little bit back more on track. So whether that's to do with relationships, whether that's, romantic, friendship, even people that you deal with just on a day-to-day basis or whenever, but also art and beauty and, values to a certain extent. So it'd be very interesting. Venus only retrogrades about once every 18 months. So, maybe you've had a bigger reevaluation of those matters, particularly if you have planets at fixed signs. So Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. So that is Venus stationing direct. Hopefully things to do with your Leo house will soon start to settle down.
Be nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then we're going to have retrograde Mercury trine Jupiter, which is really interesting because not long after this, Jupiter is going to station retrograde. So, but currently at this time, Jupiter is what we call stationing. So it's more or less at a standstill or coming to a standstill, but it's not actually retrograde yet. It's so close though. It is a trine, so that's nice. Good time for great ideas, big picture thinking and that. But that Mercury, even though it's really strong, even though it's in Virgo where it's exalted and in domicile, it's still retrograde. And not only that, it's under the beams of the sun. So it's not even under the beams of the sun, it's combust. It's burnt up. So could be a lot of good ideas, but you're kind of not able to put them into action, or, you need to refine them, or there's miscommunications or just misunderstandings.
Yeah. And when you're saying miscommunications and misunderstandings, you're actually saying big communications and big misunderstandings. Jupiter is that planet of expansion. And with its stationing, it's just saying, you know what? I want to make this energy that I'm bringing, which Jupiter wants to bring bigness to it. It's saying basically to itself, I want to make this problem big. So those big miscommunications and those big misunderstandings. So, this is telling you, and the moon is so close to it. It's saying, really think twice about, how do you want to come off? How do you, is it better to just, be like Mercury and keep it under the beams, just have it burnt up until you can fully express yourself. Because whenever a planet is stationing, it's more of an impact on that 1 degree of your zodiac, your chart, than it normally would ever have. And just that trine to Mercury's already saying, you know what? Hey, I'm retrograde and I'm already going sideways. So, if you want to add anything to the mix, make sure you're okay with it going sideways.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the way to look at that one.
Oh, when
I'm
you
not,
talk,
I'm scrambling to try to figure out how can you spin that in a positive way. The positive way is you've been warned. Or it could be big things, but you're not going to be able to draw and focus in on what it's going to expand, because Mercury itself is retrograde. And with Jupiter wanting to expand and Mercury is like all over the place, like, do I want to, go in for surgery, or do I want to make, you know, clay snowmen? They can be really so different, and I'll be the same, result is what I was trying to say.
yeah, so some really far out ideas, maybe really some interesting, really good ideas, but yeah, don't expect to be able to act on them or do anything much with them at the moment. But good time to refine and rework those ideas.
Mm, exactly.
So that is for, what is it, Eastern Daylight Time. That will be at 6:27 a.m. and then at 10:11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Jupiter's actually stationing retrograde. This is going to station retrograde in Taurus. So wherever Taurus is in your natal chart, that's where all this
Jupiter.
retrograde action is happening.
Mm-hmm.
When Jupiter is retrograde, sometimes you can feel a little bit, because Jupiter is associated with luck and enthusiasm and generosity and just excitement, that wanting to expand. So because it's retrograde, you may feel almost like, not that your luck has run out, but like things just don't flow as easily. It's just kind of like you were really excited to, do something, and then it's just like, oh God, it's going to take so long, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do that. And just almost like a balloon deflating. So,
Mm. Yeah, and Jupiter wants to look at the big picture, and this is I think it's gonna be harder to see the bigger picture with this Jupiter retrograde, because Jupiter wants to see the big picture, wants that overview, and it might be harder to see it or harder to acquire it.
yeah, and it's not super close to Uranus, but yeah, that Uranus is in Taurus too. So it's kind of can be a edgy energy, very, could be a little bit unnerving. I'm kind of glad that Jupiter's retrograding and getting away from that Uranus a little bit, at least until next year sometime. So
Yeah. Those outer planets are so slow, and it takes them so long to get over a degree that
yeah.
it's nice when they move quicker. Okay, then the next aspect is the Sun conjunct retro Mercury. And this is what we call a cazimi. It usually is very hard on a planet to be so close to the sun, although when it's directly on top of the sun, as we call it, cazimi, it gives the planet, it's called the king's ear, as Lynda has said it in the past, or in the king's room, where it's like there's a turning point where you get some information, or information is exchanged. This is the inferior conjunction, so Mercury is going back. It will come back directly over the sun again. So this is just, I think, trying to just address maybe some communication or mercurial issues, whatever those are. And those could be communications, those could be trade, those could be education, those could be any kind of communication. So it gets some energy, it gets some, I want to say messages, but not really, messages like, pick up some milk on the way home, but it's kind of like, this is what we're going to be doing. So I think that's what the inferior cazimi does before it comes out and goes direct.
Yeah, insight, I think, so a good word for that, Kazemi, particularly with this Mercury. It's in a really good condition. Well, apart from the fact that, it's retrograde, but yeah, it's in a sign where it does really well. Could be very insightful. Still got to, once the Kazemi passes, get, through the other 8 degrees of being combust, and then another 7 degrees of being under the beams. we can't see it at the moment. So it could be a good time to kind of, put those plans into action, or think about them, rework them, look at them from a different angle, make sure that everything's as it should be. And you've got that Mercury in Virgo, so it's very detail orientated, good time to just really get down to brass tacks, I suppose. Just make sure everything's as it should be. Doesn't mean it's going to go smoothly, but that's what the retrograde period's for, to find those little things that need to be addressed, fix the hiccups,
Yeah.
Mm.
And where Mercury or where Virgo is in your chart is going to show you where those changes, or where this Mercury is at. So, and which part of your life it's going to be affecting this Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the next aspect is the Sun trine retro Jupiter. This is a trine is free flowing energy. It makes it very easy to do. The Sun never goes retrograde, so we don't have to worry about that one. Meeting with Jupiter. Yeah, we would all have to really hang on if that ever happened. But when the Sun is trining Jupiter, it usually asks for you to expand your mind. It expands benefic qualities to your life. It's also considered, being very lucky to have this happen. With Jupiter being retrograde, this could, not go as planned.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great time to, like, with Jupiter retrograde trining the Sun, this is a good time to reevaluate your life path.
Yeah.
So whatever you were thinking of doing, this is helping you to decide whether you should do it or not.
Yeah, that Jupiter is usually pretty enthusiastic and optimistic. It could be that you're not as enthusiastic and optimistic as you usually would be. There's an expression, you make your own luck. Not that I necessarily believe that, but, there is something to be said for being in the right frame of mind when opportunities present themselves. And it could be, it may be a little bit harder to kind of overcome a little bit of pessimism or a little bit of reluctance to take a chance. But yeah, you may be just not seeing the bright side as much, but hopefully it may be, look, this should be good. It is retrograde though. Jupiter's retrograde. There's no getting around that. It's newly retrograde. The Sun's just had that Kazemi with Mercury, and just prior to that we had the Mercury Jupiter trine. So a few days back you had Mercury and Jupiter get together, and they're like, oh, some really good ideas. Maybe you kind of then get a little bit discouraged about how much actual energy it's going to take. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is like, I want to plant a garden and I only have the energy to take care of like a 10 by 10, but I've bought enough plants for like 100 by 100, square foot garden. And that's something that this would also have you do is do that over more than what you had thought.
Yeah. That
So
Mercury,
you have to keep your own boundaries.
yeah, that Mercury is going to be combust. I mean, I know we're not talking about the Mercury Jupiter anymore, but it's kind of like you had Mercury and Jupiter together in the trine. It's like, oh yeah, great idea, da 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 da. Then Mercury's had that meeting with the Sun, and feels like maybe some great ideas additional to that. But now here's the Sun and Jupiter. It could go overboard. Maybe you just don't see the pitfalls at this time, or it could be that you just lacking the enthusiasm. I kind of get the impression for a lot of people this will be like, yeah, you're all revved up and excited, and yeah, now it's here kind of like
So although there's only 6 aspects for this whole period, it's not that there's a lot of things, a lot of change, but there is a lot of change. There's a lot of things that are going to be changing in the lives of a lot of people just because of the retrogrades and the way they're connecting. It seems like it seems like a full month. It
Certainly does, yeah. But we're recording this when Mercury is it actually retrograde yet?
It has retrograde. It retrograded last night at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's Thursday morning on the 24th of August. So
yeah,
we are almost on 24 hours of Mercury being retrograde. So it's close enough. It's close enough to that, that really slow part where it starts to go retrograde, and it's
yeah.
definitely hitting us.
We were going to record yesterday, and I got my times all mixed up. So yeah, it's going to be a fun retrograde. Well,
Hopefully.
and then we have, it's a big jump too, because we've got the Sun trine retro Jupiter on the 8th, and then we have the new moon in Virgo, but not until the 14th. So that's 6 days. That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a week of chaos. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easy.
All those changes happen within 1 week, and we're talking about the tail end of August all the way to the 14th of September, and there's really only 1 week with all those aspects in it. So from basically September 3rd, which is a Sunday on the East Coast, to that Friday, there's all that energy. It is the moon that we're only dealing with, and those ones go by really, really fast. But if we can just hold our breath and breathe through the 3rd through the 8th, we'll be good.
And just remember, with Mercury retrograde in general, it's always good to reread, sure you've got the right details. If you're going somewhere, make sure you know the right way. Factor in extra time if you're traveling, make sure you got your passport or whatever you need, and just recheck.
Exactly.
It's not a guarantee. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Our airport just closed last night. And it would be helpful if you check it's a Mercury retrograde, started yesterday afternoon. We had 3 inches of rain last night. The airport is shut down, and so call the airport and make sure that things are open. And just exactly as Lynda had said, it's not that you have to stop traveling or signing documents, but make sure that you're calling, you're making sure that it's still on time, it's still going to leave. It's reread those pages that you have to sign, and just do that extra little bit while this Mercury is in retrograde, as Lynda has always said. That's the way it's going to help you get through that. If you're going on a long trip, take your car into the mechanic, check those fluids, make sure that, kick the tires, make sure that everything's fine. Make sure you have air in the spare, or, whatever you do with
and
that.
Travel insurance.
But yeah.
If you go
yes.
overseas. You should have that all the time anyway, but
yes.
And sometimes it can't be avoided, but it's just, if you know,
which is nice. It's
It's
exactly why we do these.
Well, and then we're going to have the new moon in Virgo. What's that? 14th of September at 21 degrees. Which is that's interesting.
That'd be interesting.
That's where Mercury's stationed. Mercury stationed retrograde at 21 degrees of Virgo.
Huh. That's interesting. Because it's going to be happening, that new moon in Virgo is going to be happening exactly when Mercury is stationing to go direct.
Yeah.
So this will be very mercurial.
It's a very weird Mercury retrograde in general.
Yeah, because for the new moon to happen exactly at the same degree that Mercury, who is now stationing in 8 degrees, and we've had a couple of other planets that stationed at 8 degrees when they were retrograding, not necessarily in Virgo, but they were at 8 degrees when they retrograded. To be at 8 degrees when that new moon is happening in Virgo, a new moon.
So this might be really interesting. Maybe something throughout this whole Mercury retrograde period, because it's stationed. That's where it's stationed retrograde at 21 degrees Virgo. Maybe with its stationing direct, new moons are about new beginnings, new starts. Yeah, whatever's happening there, maybe there's a big idea, new beginnings, new starts to do with wherever Virgo is in your chart. It's with its ruler, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. This Mercury is with it. It's what we call co-present. It is stationing. Interesting. It's in aversion to Mars, which is a good thing. Mars can't harm it. It is opposite Saturn, but not by degree. Jupiter is trine it. That's nice. But Venus is an aversion. It's in the sign next to it. Venus and Mars are in signs next to Virgo. Venus is in Leo. Mars is in Libra. So straddling it, but it's like they're in the peripheral vision, so they can't see it. New moon making a trine to Pluto, but it is 7 degrees away. And yeah,
and it's in opposition to Neptune.
Yes. Makes me wonder how realistic these ideas are, but I mean, it's in Virgo. If anyone can pull it off. Interesting. But yeah, I reckon, yeah, whatever you've been grappling with in ideas, communications, thinking, learning to do with, whatever Virgo is during this retrograde we've just had, yeah, maybe you'll be raring to get going on whatever new ideas that's brought forth. Or maybe there's some illumination of whatever you need to do with whatever house topics are associated with Virgo for you in that natal house.
Very interesting.
Where can people find you, and what services are you offering?
People can get a hold of me at www.donnabastrology.com. That's my website. I have a blog posted there every week, usually. That's where I also have my articles that I write about the stones. The services that I offer are natal readings a year ahead, as well as horary, electional as well, if you have surgery dates coming up. I am going to start to offer medical and chart rectification, which is if you don't know your birth time, because so many people that I have come across don't know their birth time. And if in my thought is if you know your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, if you can support those, it's good for health reasons. And I'd be able to better work with them. I also do energetic healing with stones. If you have experienced trauma, if you are embarking on a new venture and want support with that, the energetic healing does support that. And Lynda, where can people get a hold of you, and what do you offer?
I'm at Scallywag Astrology. That's astrology.scallywag.com. I offer natal readings, year ahead readings, and relationship readings.
Oh, like that. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you for listening. We appreciate your likes, your shares, your comments. We really like the comments. So yeah. Maybe you've got some interesting ideas for your Mercury retrograde. Be really interesting to hear. Yeah, but hope this past week hasn't been too crazy for you all, because it's been a bit like for us, hasn't it, Donna?
It has.
Yeah.
Some of them are self-inflicted.
But yeah, it's interesting. We were saying that, sometimes, you do the reading and you kind of say, oh, this all looks like it's going to be lovely. And then it's just like, because it comes down to your individual chart, even though it might look like really lovely weather, when it comes down to your actual personal chart, sometimes it's just hitting things in it. And it's just like, oh my. And sometimes, you
Mm.
know, you kind of look at something and you think, oh, that's a bit nasty, but you just sail through it because, you know, your chart's not kind of making any contact with it. Anyway, I hope it's a lovely full moon in Pisces, and yeah, take care. Ciao.
Thank you.